Alright, so this is part 2, continuing with the Eico 435 rebuild. And so it's been about a week, and been working off and on as I had free time. And I finished the top part. As you can see, kind of walk through some of the things that done to this during this rebuild. First of all, you can see that the new capacitor board's mounted. It's populated with the electrolytics and the resistors for the voltage dividers. And I've gone ahead and made all the connections for the power supply, and then the one big electrolytic, which is down here, I've mounted with a clamp, and I'll flip the unit over here, and we'll look at the other side, and you'll see where that comes out. I've gone ahead and not replaced everything, but replaced a good bit of all the components on the top side here. A couple of components I didn't replace. I did verify them, and they're still within allowable tolerance. Mainly a couple of the resistors here on the input attenuator, like this one here, and there's a couple that you may not be able to see, but they're in here between the wafers under these trimmer capacitors. They all tested out within tolerance, and so I decided to leave them on. But most of the components have been replaced. I went ahead and replaced the two filter caps in the high voltage power supply. The two that were previously installed, these 1600 volt rated caps, and that's this high voltage power supply puts out 1600 volts, so they were right at the limit with no margin. So I went ahead and replaced them with these 2000 volt rated caps to give it a little bit of margin for the power supply. Other than that, rerouted all the filaments, tightened up the twist, got them routed close to the chassis, maybe try to cut down on the hum a little bit. Replaced most of the resistors, all of the power resistors replaced. This one really big cap here, I don't know if you'll remember, but it had this gigantic one, mounted right here. So that's been replaced with a smaller equivalent capacitors, a smaller value, or smaller size rather. Same capacitance and a voltage rating. And other than that, a lot of rewiring. So all of the, or most of the wiring, any wiring that was replaced, I went ahead and put in this nice Teflon insulated wires. Some of it's 1000 volt rated, some of it's a minimum 600 volt rated. A lot of it's 1000 volt rated though, just to give a little bit of margin there. Some of this wire, some of it, not all of it, was replaced. Some of it's still being used, but most of the wiring has been replaced. And this big red lead here is off the high voltage power supply, or off the high voltage rectifier, and this is all the 2000 volt rated wire for the high voltage power supply. Let's see, other than that, let's see, not much else. Managed to consolidate, free up some of these tie points that were used previously and not being used anymore. This one, all of this, everything in this chassis is riveted, so it's quite a pain to get the rivets out. So I'll probably just leave this one in here, and I may find a use for it, but it'll probably just stay. But other than that, so we'll flip it over, and here is the back side. And this has not, I haven't done any work on this side yet, so it's still got all the original stuff, other than putting some of these wires, getting some of this wire either cut back or I think this is all original wiring that I just sort of left, so I can trace it out, see where it goes once I start to rebuild this side. Here's the big can electrolytic. You'll also notice that I pulled the CRT out. It's gone. It's over on the shelf wrapped in bubble wrap. I don't want anything to damage that CRT because it still works great, so I want to keep it working. And then some leads going in for the this is off of the vertical amplifier or vertical driver that'll go to the CRT. Those still have to be attached. But other than that, sort of tightened up the looming down here, a little bit of wiring, and got some more work to do. But we'll wrap this up for now, and just thought go ahead and get this update out on this Eico rebuild, and I'll put some more out when I get some more done. Thanks.